Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. We're back again. Gonna chill for a little bit, and then we'll probably race. And chill, very much chill. I did yard work 2 days ago, and I'm not happy that I'm still feeling it. I'm not proud about this. Kind of upsetting. But certain muscles I haven't used in a while, so not entirely surprising. Try to do some of these short routes and get some XP. Sadly, I've got this badge, but at least there's XP tied to it. The kicker is I did this the day before they released the shorts routes. So that's upsetting. 1 day early, and I would have had like 4 or 5 of the routes done. So that's annoying. That's my luck with Zwift, though. Always has been. Timing is not my friend. Just chill on these routes, though, until it's time. Basically, the race is... I need the route badge. So if I do well, cool. If I don't do well, oh well. Kind of my logic for the race. I honestly do not think I'm going to do well. Because it's still Utakazi and Makuri. Which I'm very weak to. I'm not a huge fan of that area of Nyokyo. So, it is what it is, though. I knew what I was getting into. Because it's got Slot Canyon, I think it's called. Which is the super difficult figure 8 uphill. And then at near the end, it's got that nasty climb up to the back section. And neither are good for me. Both of those are very rough for my style. So... It's not great. Not necessarily looking forward to them. But it is what it is. Try to see if I can get like 3 of the short routes done, maybe? I don't know. Kind of play it by ear. I don't want to push, really. It's going to be hard enough in the race, so... Just going to take it a little easy. It's also not helping that I've had like a stitch right here for most of the day. And I'm like, I swear, if that messes with my anaerobic, that's gonna suck. I'm gonna be anaerobic for a long time, so if I have something that's gonna mess with my ability to be anaerobic, oh boy. I don't need it to be worse than it already is. But we'll just keep doing things as we do. Spin for a bit. We got 35 minutes, a little over 35 minutes till the race. So yeah, don't go into the race with high expectations for me. I'll be shocked if I don't get dropped, honestly. I'll get shocked if I don't get dropped on the first climb. It's that much not fitting of my abilities. I've suffered through that climb so many times that I'm pretty familiar with how it goes. The only possible saving grace is that it's early. I think it's like 3K in or something. And that's the only saving grace is maybe. Maybe people will go slow. Not slow, but they won't go all out as if it was the end of the race. It's the only hope. And that's not a lot of hope, I should say. I'm not super hopeful about that. I would honestly be surprised. Alright. I know we're doing Downtown Dolphin, Glasgow, Nyokyo crit course, and 6 train reverse. So let's do LaGuardia Loop. So this, if I can do it, I'll either have maybe 6 routes, chance of 7 routes by the end of the weekend. And that'll leave me with the Zwift Games climb, which I don't think I've done anyways. Not that I'm excited about that. I avoided doing that last weekend, and I intended to avoid it as much as humanly possible. Unfortunately, not possible anymore. It's a must-do now. But, oh well. That's a poke in the eye. Thanks, Swift. Thanks for giving me a draft when I'm riding solo. Good thing is I don't think we have any of the super nasty climbs here, so... We don't have Harlem Hill or anything. Harlem Hill would be brutal on this. I'm still confused why there's a red tinge at the top of the map, though. Like, ever since they updated New York, I feel like there's a red tinge on the map. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's always been there, but it feels like it's new. Ah, looks like my body's slowly spinning up. And for anybody who saw me do the 6 races back-to-back on Sunday, we'll not be doing those again. I am much more interested in doing the tinies than that. Hey, Slow, how's it going? It's weird, my right knee is being finicky, which is rare. I don't know why. It's not a normal thing that I have. I have been slowly dialing in the saddle tilt, though. I'm finally, like, doing the thing of taking the time, doing minute measurements. I finally taped where my saddle height is. Finally doing, like, instead of just kind of randomly doing them, I'm trying to actually be a bit better about it. The saddle tilt does seem better. I think I'm at 5 degrees total down right now. Like, if you measure, put a board from the tip to the tail. Which part is flat, though? That's the key. Modern day saddles have a flare. So if you set it flat, it's actually 5 degrees up. And I can tell you there's body parts that are not going to align with that. So basically, because it also depends on where your handlebars are in height relation to your saddle. So I kind of screwed it up when I switched to, I think, a 60 or 70 millimeter saddle. Not saddle, stem. It kind of threw off all my measurements. So I've been toying with things ever since. Because I realized and I knew it, I was running too long of a stem. So now I'm a little bit more... no. Specialized just likes to ship bikes with really stupidly long stems. Because I'm riding a 51 as a 5'8", 5'9" person. So I actually sized down. But I think it was like a 100 millimeter stem before. Which, on basically the equivalent of a size small bike, that's really stupid. So, I finally got myself a 60 millimeter stem. And I'd say it's probably pretty right on. Because most of my body is now pretty good. Like, very rarely are my arms locked. They usually kind of stay to the side. I finally got, I think I'm running a 38 centimeter width bar. Because Specialized, I think, shipped it with a 42. Which is weird. It's that thing of, I bought this bike during COVID when I couldn't bike fit anything or test it. So I was stuck with whatever I could get. And I'm just finally getting the chance to actually tweak it to make it work. So, I'm just finally doing the due diligence. I switched out the saddle, switched out the stem, switched out the handlebar. So, my hope is to get a bike fit over winter, but just hasn't been in the cards. I feel like I'm pretty well set now, but there's never a harm in having somebody check it. Because most of my bike fitting has been done by me. In the last 13 years, I haven't had a professional bike fit in a long time. And the one time I did have a bike fit, I got a bike fit because I had knee pain. So the bike fit was more to fix the knee pain rather than a good bike fit. Hey, whatever works for you. As long as it keeps you happy, that's all that matters. All right, that's two of the short routes done. We'll probably get one more done. I just want to go sit in the pens to get my spot. Thankfully, it's not mixed category like Sunday was. That was... If they've changed it from mixed category and got rid of the boosts, I'd be willing to do that race series again, but... It just... The race strategy becomes just hold on to the A's as much as humanly possible in a mixed category race, and that's just... That gets old when you don't have the power profile to hang on to people. And I don't. Twilight Crit. Oh, wow. That's insane. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Heck, I'd be indoors that entire time. That's ridiculous. I'm not jealous. Definitely not jealous. Granted, I say that as if I don't ride indoors all the time anyways. The only time I ride outdoors now is if I'm taking part in an event. Oh, jeez. That's weird. Well, ours has been ridiculously hot. That's crazy. Yeah, Colorado's been like 35°C, I think. Which, being at 6,000 feet is hot. Normally, it's not too bad. But, mainly, I've only ridden outdoors for the time trial series, which I didn't get a chance to do this year. Yeah, the world's all screwed up on heat right now. Soon you're just gonna have to swap poles to live in the temp you want. Yep, they are indeed. But yeah, the other reason I don't ride outdoors right now is that I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel safe outdoors right now. There are so many cyclist deaths and accidents lately. And all from cars. Nope. Oh yeah, no. Supposedly winter's gonna be horrible. We're in for hell. Oh, it's almost time for a haircut. When I can feel sweat on the back of my neck, that's time. That's when I'm done. That's the line. Oh, thanks, DJ. I'll donate to Loxa DJ. I will say I'm very lucky. Had I gotten my biological father's genes, I would have been bald many, many years ago. So I'm quite lucky. But hey, shaving or cutting my hair has raised a bunch of money for charity, so got a purpose. Yeah, it's all luck of the draw in genes for sure. I feel like I'm starting to see the first signs of uh-oh. But I'm not sure yet. But hopefully you're doing all right. So yeah, I don't know if everybody saw the post in Discord, why I've been MIA. For anybody who's not in Discord, basically, unfortunately, most of the beginning of the year, from March until recently, I was fighting H. pylori. It was fun. Don't get it. It sucks. No worries, DJ. And that's not like calling anybody out or anything. That's just also, I know not everybody who watches is in Discord, so. H. pylori. Basically, for 2 months, I would eat something and have to just go lay on the couch for the rest of the day with, like, severe nausea and pain. Thought it was pancreatitis. Thought it might be kidneys. I think I had my blood taken 3 or 4 times. X-rays, CAT scans, all kinds of things. We were 1 step away from going real deep. And then, my doc's finally like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna go for the Hail Mary. Let's go for some other samples. And after 2 months, we finally figured it out. Known as H. pylori. Which, if you don't know, is basically a spiral bacteria in your stomach lining. It's fun. And the regimen is what they call a quad med. 2 antibiotics, and then a hell of a lot of quellers to try to quell the nastiness that the antibiotics are going to cause. You're on that for 2 weeks. Takes a week to find out if it's actually, or you're on that for 2 weeks. Then you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to test. And then it can still kind of wreak havoc on your system for another month or 2. So I was down for a good 4 or 5 months. It sucked. Literally, like, I was on the brat diet for about 4 months. Let me tell you, food has never tasted so good. Being on basically flavorless food for 4 months for fear of causing horrible nausea. Ugh. That sucked. So, and of course, being off the bike for like 4 months, I lost every ounce of fitness I had. And I actually felt like I was starting to make progress. And that is miserable. I had just started hitting, like, the last ride that I did, I had set a new FTP best for the first time in like 2 years. I'm like, really? Really? And the kicker is, it's supposed to be extremely communicable. Like, if you share food or drink or anything, it's like 90% chance that you transfer it. 2 months we didn't know what it was. Penguin never got it. Yeah, that was this slow. Because I got hit really hard with something. Well, actually, last year I had rotavirus. Then I did the Festive 500. Got hit nasty with something after that, where I wasn't able to ride for a while. Finally get back on, start using the fitness that I gained from the Festive, and then this. And it's like, I have not seen the FTP from the early days of Zwift ever. And the kicker is, for a lot of people, H. pylori makes you lose weight. Nope. Why could I at least not get that benefit? If it's gonna suck, at least let me lose weight. Somehow, on a brat diet, I didn't lose weight. Was that directed at me or you? I don't know how I should feel. Ouch. I'm definitely heavier than I would like to be, that's for sure. I can confirm that much. But yeah, no, that was... and I'm like, I feel bad because the last time I streamed was charity season in end of April, early May. And now it's like K for K time. And I'm like, I swear, it's not that I stream just to try to fundraise and steal people's wallets. Like, I promise. But it does make me feel bad. The one good thing is it gave me a lot of time to work on fun stuff for this next charity season, at least. So there's that. I can't... Even if I'm couch-bound, you better believe I'm still finding a way to do things. I can't not. It's definitely a problem. And I don't know if there's a solution. Certainly haven't found one yet. Alright, so I got 3 of the short routes done. I'll get 4 done on Saturday, so long as nothing changes. And then... Yeah, no, I don't blame you, Slow. Honestly, that's why I ride indoors. This is all my inspiration I need. Constant competition. To knock my head against the wall against. Is it a good idea? No. It's probably quite stupid. Like the racing I did on Sunday. Honestly, I probably gained 0 training out of that. I was so anaerobic that I think I just emptied every ounce of sugar I had, and that's it. For anybody that didn't see Sunday, I tried the Turbo 10, which is 10 races in 2 hours. They get slightly progressively longer and have a slightly larger gap every race. So like the first race is only 1 lap of Downtown Dolphin, but the next race is 5 minutes after the start of the first one. So we had like 60 seconds to go from that race to the next one. Hey, whatever motivates you, seriously. People that hate on e-bikes is just... If it gets people to ride, I don't care. The one thing I don't like is using, like, our local, one of our 14ers, our very dangerous 14er, has a program where they'll let you use an e-bike to get up, and then you descend the mountain. And it's like, that I don't know if I feel comfortable with. Because I don't know if you're going to have a full grasp of descending like you would climbing normally. It's a whole different world. That scares me for the people doing it. But if people want to do it, hey. The one that really, like, I'm 50-50 on that one. The one that I disagree with fully is you can take a mountain bike up on the tram and then just descend. And I'm like, nope. That should not be allowed. That means somebody has 0 knowledge of handling. They have not spent the time going up the climb to understand how are the corners, where is it sandy, where is there no barrier off the edge of the mountain. Nope. I think that is the stupidest thing. You should not be able to descend a mountain without having at least, in some way, shape, or form, gone up the road you're going to descend. Because the tram obviously doesn't go up the road, it goes up train tracks. And I'm like, that's a disaster waiting to happen. No. I am so not a fan of that. That's so dangerous. But yeah, no, unfortunately, e-mountain bikes here are not regulated much at all. And it's so dangerous. They all ride on bike trails and stuff, and it's like, I'm sorry. An e-bike going 28 miles an hour should not be on a bike trail. And the issue is now we have so many more that are basically just unregulated motorcycles. See, that's how it's supposed to be here. It's not being enforced. The amount of bikes that I see that people are not pedaling, but on trails, it's insane. And that just means these people have zero cycling etiquette or multi-use trail etiquette. They'll just rip by you without a second thought. They'll shoot gaps just because they're fast. Penguin and I were out walking the pup the other day, and there was somebody on the other side, and they just split the gap between us without saying a word. And I'm like, you're gonna kill someone. Probably going 25 plus miles an hour. Not pedaling, no clue. Just ripping through everybody. And I'm like, that's so stupidly dangerous. It's gotten out of hand. Because it's supposed to be, here at least, it's supposed to be pedal assist only. Otherwise, you need a license. But sure as heck is not happening like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is very little regulation going on here. I've been at a stoplight, had a cop across from me. Somebody runs the red light. Couldn't care less. And I'm like, so what does get you pulled over? Jesus. Like, if running a red light doesn't get you pulled over, what does? Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's... Pretty much every other country has handled cycling better than we have. Cyclists here are seen as a nuisance. The amount, like, any social media post related to cycling here, and all of the comments are about how they would just drive through them or something, and it's like... Nope. It's so terrifying. I no longer feel safe riding on main roads. I wish I could say I did. But I don't. But it is what it is. Unfortunately. Did everybody just get to the line and call it? Everybody got their badge. It's like, oh, I'm done. There's a lot of people that just pulled the plug. So yeah, the race that we're doing after this is actually one of the longer ones I've seen in Z Racing in a long time. I think it's like 26 kilometers. Normally, they're like 20 kilometers or so, And it has 2 nasty climbs, and I'm not happy about it. For obvious reasons, because, you know, I don't like climbing. I used to. I don't anymore. I'm not a wattage cottage anymore like I used to be. At least, like, watt per kilo. I have watts. I don't have watt per kilo. I feel like it's going to be a lot of holding on. Or not. Holding on is actually the best case scenario. I'm not going to be too optimistic. Because if I remember right, it's 3 kilometers to the first climb or something, and that's a brutal one. It's going to be a kick in the face right off the bat. I'm not excited about Slot Canyon. That thing is nasty. Because it's like a double punch, and if I don't get a feather, I Did it just tell you, hey, we just need to reinstall? Because I know it's happened to me before, where it's been too long, and it's like, no. We can't just update anymore. We need to just reinstall. I know Penguin had that issue. It's like, oh, that's That's demoralizing. You've missed one too many updates. Man, I really do not know how my legs are going to go today. I know I say that a lot. Kind of my go-to, but like, I was more worried about my arms because we're doing a project in the backyard and I moved like 1,000 pounds worth of stuff from the front to the back. It was not a smart decision. It was that moment that I realized we don't have any good tool to move large quantities of things. No dolly, no wheelbarrow, no nothing. Just good old-fashioned arm muscles. I have not worked on those in a while. Oh boy, did my muscles remind me. I'm like, it's not even that far, but when you're trying to move like 40 bags, probably not 40, it's probably like 25 or 30, and they're each like 40 to 50 pounds. Oh boy. Your body does not let you live that down. It very much all of a sudden reminds you of, you're not that young anymore. You don't just get muscles for free. I suck at push-ups. My upper body, for like I say for some reason, I know the reason, my upper body has always been weak. I'm not proud of it. I just, all my exercising happens to be lower. And I struggle to fix that. I remember when I was in elementary and middle school, they would have pull-ups. And boy, is it demoralizing when your friend gets up and can do like 20 of them in 30 seconds. And you can't do one. Yep. That one hurt. Did I try to fix it? No. Should I have? Probably. Did I tell myself in my head I was going to? Yes. Did I follow through? No. Story of my life. I never understand why people don't like goo. If you don't like goo, you're just getting the wrong flavor. That's all it is. I'm hoping next year I can... Hopefully the time trial series comes back. And I can get that thing back out again. There was supposed to be one that starts next month. But it's in a state park. And for some reason the state park turned them down and so they couldn't do it. And they're like, I don't know what to say. They didn't give us a good reason of why. They just won't. So, unfortunately, I don't get the time trial at all this year. Because there's not a lot of time trial series. There's only like 2. Except for individual races, and I'm not driving an hour and a half to do an individual race. That does not sound fun. Especially when the time trial series are like 20 minutes away from me. Alright. Before I forget. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. I know you were having a rough go of things for a little bit there. So hopefully that's at least helping quell some of that. I'm sure it's not magically fixing everything, but hey. Hopefully at least it's some improvement. Alright, I'll be right back, chat. And then we'll die. Because this is going to be rough. Nothing is magic. No, you're very much. That is 100% true. Alright, one moment, chat. Heard that. Oh, God. Why? Why? Now, I've seen the training that you've done. And you're gonna come raid me? Why would you do this to me? How are you doing, White Beast? This is gonna go poorly. Fair warning. This is not gonna go well. Do you see over here? Like this? I'm gonna die. I was trying to die peacefully in this race. I don't need everybody else to watch me die. It's already bad enough. There we go. I'll do my best. Also, do you see who is... Right? Right there? Right. He doesn't leave me alone. Alright, we'll hide this for the moment. So yeah, this is gonna be rough. For anybody who hasn't seen this course... I don't know how well that's gonna go. Very early on, you hit a very nasty climb. If you're familiar with Utakazi, it's the slot climb, the figure 8 that leads up and out of the canyon. And then you get to go around Nyokyo for a little bit. And then you come back, and then you hit that nasty climb at the back of Utakazi. I'm a die. I do not have the power profile for this. Let me tell you. This is not what I succeed in. And let me tell you, if I don't get a feather, I'm screwed. Arrow is not gonna save me on a climb. So, basically all of that is to say, don't have high hopes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'd love to pretend, but don't. This does not suit me at all. I am here because this is a route badge. I appreciate it, BB. I mean, you know me, I'm not gonna just fold and give up. I'm just not very hopeful. That's basically what it comes down to. I'ma try, and then I'ma explode. That's the long and the short of this. Because they're probably going to go like 3-5, 3-8 up Slot Canyon. And I'm just going to go wee. All right, 5 seconds. I'll stop complaining. For now. Let me in. Let me in. Wait, I have 2 friends in here? Ooh. Because neither of those are LePage. Okay, that's LePage behind me. I don't know who I'm friends with in front of me. Brad, for some reason, rings a bell. But I don't know. Oh. My heart rate is not good. This is not a good start. Just don't look at it. We're not at my threshold yet, but we're not far. We'll see, Peter. Considering what I just came back from, it's a steep mountain. Well, I still have oxygen, considering I just got raided. And I'm sure some of you aren't in the Discord. I disappeared because I was fighting H. pylori for about 4 months. So, good fun. If you don't know what it is, it sucks. That's what it is. So basically, about a month plus ago, I had to start from scratch. Because I lost about 4 months on the bike. I mean, good thing is I've beaten like 8 people. Yeah, I'm getting there. But I definitely feel it too. My body is not where it was in February and March. Unfortunately. It's gonna be a bit of a road. Because I was really starting to feel good. LePage, what are you doing? Why? Did you gonna try to time trial? You have fun with that. I am not following you. Or are you trying to get a gap for the climb? Maybe that's LePage's strategy. Get a gap for the climb. You're gonna make people work real hard back here though, and I don't like that. I will use this chance to remind you, though. In almost exactly 1 month's time, it'll be the IRL event for K4K. September 19th. So we're getting there. Please, please. Crap, I'm screwed. I have an arrow for the climb. That's my death warrant. There's gonna be a bunch of people that have a feather, and I don't. Why? Why, Zwift? Why do you hate me like this? That just made this climb twice as hard. I'm not going to be able to do anything against this group, and that'll just tire me. I mean, the climb is in 500 meters. I might be able to use it if I'm close to catching at the top. Oh, gotcha. Maybe. Good call. Yeah, it depends on if I'm already off the back at the mid, then that would be good. As a catch-up tool. Otherwise, for the top. All I know is this is going to be rough. This is far from my power profile. Too steep, too long. There we go. Ooh, Doom music for the climb? Yes, please. I've got rip and tear in my ears. LePage, you suck. I don't know. Still a long way to go. Ah, it's a gap. You were saying? Thank you for the follow. We're not getting back. That's it. I've been too deep in anaerobic. I'm pouring sweat. Yeah, they're all above 3-0. Trying to catch it in. That's a babe. We may catch SG, but I think that's it. If he's smart, he'll come back. There's no point in pushing in no man's land. If he's not putting out 2-5 to 3, no point. No, front group's gone. We'll probably get caught by the two behind us as well, which is fine. 5 people, that's a nice draft to sit in. Instead of it being 1, 2, and 2. Five strong is so much better, especially when there's not much elevation for the next, like, 15K. No, 13, 12, somewhere in there. And Shu does not want to help right now. Unfortunately, I have a feeling I'll lose in that case, but hey, at least it'll be fun. All right, let's catch SG. Let's stop screwing around. We catch him in Ekanese. There we go, we've got draft. My legs are smoky. I'm shocked that I'm still 50% of the way, like in the pack. That only 11 went up the road. It's better than I expected. Looks like Brad fell off, so maybe we'll become one stronger. I'm gonna chill so I can recover my W bell. Try to recover a little bit. Like I said, I don't really care if the two behind us catch. It's a bonus on the flats. More people in the group, better the draft. But man, am I sweaty. It's nasty. Oh, cool. I got a feather. I'm sitting on that. Because a feather might have kept me with that group. I honestly don't know. It would have been tough. Think I should go to the front for a little bit, so I don't get mad. It might have got me closer, though. I don't know. I'm gonna be hopeful in my mind. Because it's also that thing of the mentality of if you stay closer, it's easier to push. I wasn't that far off at the top, though. And if I was within 2 seconds at the top, thanks to a feather, I might have been able to push more. Who knows? Not saying I would have, but who knows? Yeah, that next group is going to catch. They're pushing. I'm good with sitting on until they catch. Because that'll possibly let us catch Brad as well. Because, man, my legs are really full of lactic. Ooh. I stood at the end hoping that maybe that would close something. Oops. It made it worse. Yeah, here they come. I hate dirt. All right, 3 seconds away. Come on, guys, close the gap. And that'll basically be it. 17th and beyond is not catching us. Why did you burn your feather here? What are you doing, Chew? That is one of the most bizarre feather uses I've seen. We're not losing those two. Come on. Whew. Cool. I can hide more. I don't feel as obligated to pull now. Whew. There we go. There's better. Can get a little bit more respite. Come on, LePage, don't you want to join us? What are they doing up there? I see red. We should make up a lot of ground on this downhill, honestly. Just by proxy. All right. Starting at 20 seconds down on them. Let's see what we finish with. Yeah, the roll through is going to be massive. I think we'll probably catch him on a downhill. Because he can't preserve speed. We've already shaved 6 seconds. Down to 12 seconds. And we've barely started the downhill. If he's not careful, we're just going to roll through him. So we're carrying 6 extra kilometers an hour right now? Nope, 10. If he's smart, he's easing off and prepping a sprint to catch on. Ah, it flattens here. Unfortunate. But he's right there. There he goes. Slowly regaining. Trying to shake out the legs and get rid of all the lactic. Because the Shisa climb is going to be rough. Thankfully, I've got a feather, but that first climb did a number. I'm hoping because I'm with this second group that it means everybody's not a great climber and everybody's tired. Now, we almost caught him on the downhill, but we clawed back like 14 seconds, 15 seconds. Hey, Grubby, how's it going? So, it's just a matter of time. 4-minute ad? What the heck? Oh, it's because the pre-roll started again. I ran 3 minutes of ads at the beginning, but we just ticked over an hour. Stupid Twitch. I don't understand how that works. Should only be pre-rolls. Come on, everybody, chase him for me. Normalized is still 207, which says a lot. It's an interesting choice, Ken. Hey, how's it going? You caught me in a time where I actually have oxygen, despite being at 180 BPM. My pedaling style feels like crap, though. Alright. You guys done? We all good as a group again? I'm just here for the route badge. All right. Little kickers suck. LePage, fall off the group. I see her at the back. Oh, my legs. They are not happy. This last climb is going to be not fun. There's still so much left in. Gonna chill back here, don't mind me. Oh. There we go. A little stretch. Still 7.5 kilometers. Jeez. Definitely a long Z race. Very rare. I know at least one person in here doesn't have a feather. I don't know about anybody else. I'm actually shocked that they're not further ahead of us than they are, considering we got dropped. Like, what, 13 kilometers ago? They're less than 2 minutes up the road still? That's crazy. Good thing is, worst I can get is 16. Take a positive. Okay, so 2 people do not have power-ups. Chew and SG. Oh, legs. Ooh. My W bell says I should be recovered. My legs disagree. All right, it's about to start. One little kick, flat, and then straight to the top. Ironically, I'm not at threshold. Now I am. My max is like 201. Somehow. Alright, I need my HUD for a moment. We've lost Brad. Oh, he's coming back. Make people work a bit. Doesn't look like it's going to drop anyone. People still have power, so I'm not going to push too much. Alright. Kind of shocked we all stayed together. Now we get a nice descent. Grubby, are you back from your ad? I don't know why you got that. That's just Twitch being Twitch, because I don't have ads turned on. Whew. Probably 2 kilometers of flattish after this. Whew. Wrist is stiff. Brad trying to be crafty. Does look like somebody's fallen off, John, but I don't think we'll catch him. He's too far up the road. So, 11th will be the best position we can get, which is fine. Still pretty good. Considering 27 people started this, that's pretty good. Technically, we're on the second group on the road. So, better than I expected, honestly. I do not want to be in the wind, thank you. Normalized is still 203 after 40 minutes. Jesus. That's my FTP. This has been a race and a half. $1,300 meters. $600 meters. Oh, no, it's not. Stupid sauce, it's wrong again. All right. Glad I didn't try sprinting. Sauce's routes are wrong. Glad I double checked. Still 2.3K when Sauce said we were about to finish. Glad I thought about that. Sorry you guys lose what place I'm in right now, but I need it to be accurate. Yeah, right? Whole 2 kilometers difference. Glad I didn't try any stupid maneuvers. Oh, Brad's gone. He cracked. Weird, we haven't really been pushing. Ooh, Adamas in my ears? I'll take it. If you don't know Adamas, I'm sad. It's very good. Thanks, Tesachka. English is hard right now. We almost caught Ornito. Oh, Pereira's gone, so now we're down to 4. So worst is 14th. $700 meters. Ah, nice power. Well played. Well, I'll take it. I wasn't expecting that. That was a very good sprint. I even stayed in the wheels as much as possible. And I was happy with my sprint. I mean, I got 4th in the tie full sprint. So our group did some of the best sprint out of everybody. That says a lot. Whew. Oh, spicy. I'm pretty happy with that, considering. I don't think I could have done much better. Basically, second of the second group, so that's pretty good. Ugh. Ooh, my legs are toast. Hopefully that was fun to watch at least. I would have loved to have been able to stay with front group, obviously, but I'm pretty content with how how it happened in the end, because it truly didn't matter that we came back to a group of 6. If anything, it just helped me have a better chance at the end, because I got to sit in a little bit more and hide. Because when it's only 2 or 3 people, it's a little rude to just sit in. I know you can, but it's a little bit more obvious that you're just sitting in, so. Whew. I'm happy with that. But my legs are very tired now. Very tired. I'll spin down for a little bit. Normalized power of 206. Dang. That's a brutal race. Whew. That's a long one, too. I mean, a 47-minute race for Z Racing Series is long. And the group ahead of us only did it like 2 minutes faster, so. Oh, really? You're gonna make me do Slot Canyon? That's mean. This was definitely my undoing. Had this been a little bit further in with a feather, maybe it would have gone a little bit differently, but with it being so early on, this is a brutal kicker initially. And I mean, I called it. They went, I think probably averaged about 3.7, which I just don't have. Not on a consistency like that. Especially not that early in a race. So, I mean, I'm happy that I was accurate in what they were going to do. That makes me feel good. Not that I got dropped, but that I accurately predicted what the pace was going to be. Because it's that thing of, it's like, yeah, I know. I basically knew if they did over 3.5, that was probably it. Had they done 3.2, 3.3, maybe 3.4, I probably would have been able to hang on. But 3.5 plus, and that was it. But I might have done a new best sprint. That's possible. Because I changed gearing in that sprint twice. Just to try to get more out of it. Because that's what I have to do when I'm tired, is I have to basically just force my body to push harder. It's the only option. I can't manifest higher power without changing the gear. I know, not the best thing for my bike, but whatever. Oops. Whew. Ugh. Ooh, tired. Ugh. I'm curious to see the graph after that. Should be a pretty spicy graph. Happily spicy, though. Alright. Let's take a look. Leave event. Menu. Android. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Almost maximal stress points, and that's with a 5-minute cooldown. Yeah. That's what I thought. That was maximal. How'd I do? Oh, 906 watts, dang. Yeah, it's probably my best sprint in a while. Because this best is from a long time ago. That's not current. So. Oh, wow, okay. I didn't expect that. Okay, so no, there was an FTP increase. So, hey, cool. You guys got to watch that. Only by 1 watt, but 1 watt is 1 watt. Yeah, I would rather you do my sprint. Ooh, alright. My racing score went down? Oh, okay. Whatever. Rude. I don't understand how that worked. Whatever. And then this weekend we'll do Downtown Dolphin, Glasgow Reverse, 6 Train Reverse, and Yokio, I think. So we'll get 500 more XP. That'll be nice. What did I unlock? Oh, indoor-outdoor challenge. Cool, whatever, don't care. It's ugly. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead and call it there. I will go ahead and send you on a raid if you are interested. Hopefully I'm actually logged in. That would be annoying. Yes, I am. Good. I do plan on being back on Saturday morning for the Tinies. Like I said, I would like to hopefully get a chance to get more route badges. Not route badges, the tiny things. Shorts. Swift shorts, that's what it is. Because I want to get those done. Whew. But I'm going to go ahead and send you on to somebody. Enjoy. I will see you on Saturday. So thank you all for joining. Hopefully you had fun, and I'll see you next time. Stick around for the...